All right, for more on the West Virginia case, we're joined by the West Virginia Attorney General, John McCuskey. Great to have you with us. You were in the room listening to the arguments today. It sounded like from the questions from the Supreme Court justices that it's going to go your way.
Yes, and we were very confident of that to begin with, because our case is right on the facts, it's right on the Constitution, and importantly, it's right in common sense. And listening to the ACLU's arguments today, I was more emboldened in our fight than I am now. Because I think one of the most troubling things that we saw is that the ACLU's argument is trying to create a class of people who would be who shouldn't be excluded in women's sports because they've transitioned at such a monumentally young age. And so what they were really saying is they conceded the Ninth Amendment case and they conceded the Equal Protection Clause case. But what they were saying is if you were to transition a child young enough to where they would be rendered not male anymore, that they should be allowed to play on women's sports teams. And I think that's a very concerning position to be taking for a myriad of reasons.
Well, let's just focus on the one reason that's being argued in court today, which is Becky Pepper Johnson says because she transitioned when she was so young that she never had male puberty, that she doesn't have all the advantages that a boy would have, which is what so many parents of so many girls competing are afraid of, that their daughters will be unfairly disadvantaged, even potentially hurt, as has happened in some cases, when they're on the field competing against a boy.
Yeah, I would love for you to have on with me the young women that Becky was competing against, because I think they would have a different count as to whether or not her puberty blockers actually made her someone who was less competitive than them. And so, you know, the science on this is very unsettled. And another thing that the ACLU argued today that was very concerning to me was the last statement that the ACLU made to the court was that the science on this issue is settled. And that is tremendously unfair to the argument, and it's unfair to the American woman to say that the science is settled, that puberty blockers will actually turn a boy into a girl.
You know, this is a huge case. It took up a big block. It's getting a lot of headlines. It's got the attention of the United States Supreme Court. And transgender people make up like 1% of the population. I think in your state it's less than 1% of the population. Is it surprising at all that this has garnered the attention it has, or is it not?
Not even a little bit. I'm actually standing outside of a convention hall with more than 1,000 people who are rallied in defense of women's sports. And I'm actually getting, to be fair, a little tired of being asked, is this worth it? It's only one person. Nobody's talking to the thousands of other girls whose spots on podiums and on teams, and with the ability to learn the incredible lessons that sports teach girls, how to be leaders. And I just tonight listened to these leaders, these young women who are willing to stand up for their sport, right? And the leadership skills that they learned to be able to do what they're doing today were all learned on the playing field. And if you're to take the ACLU's arguments at face value, they would prevent all of those women from having those opportunities and becoming the leaders that I saw them be today.
Chief Justice John Roberts said today that allowing challenges, you know, that issuing a ruling, I think what he was struggling with, at least the Chief Justice was how will our ruling on this very narrow issue affecting this small group of people, when we're talking about transgender athletes, not certainly about all the girls who will compete or are competing against them, about the broader implications of it. In other words, how this might undermine Title IX. I know you're a big supporter of Title IX. Title IX has done enormous things for girls in sports and bringing them somewhat up to parity. They're still not there quite yet with boy sports.
Yeah, and I don't think Justice Roberts was actually struggling with that. I think what he was trying to do is elicit a response that he already knew he understood, which is that Title IX has done more to advance women's rights in this country over the last 50 years than probably anything else. And when you look at the percentage of women who've risen to the level of CEO in American companies and the amount of women who've become leaders in our government at the highest levels, more than 50% of them participated in competitive high school or college athletics. And I think that statistic matters, right? And so what I think Justice Roberts was really getting at was that the ACLU's argument really takes a wrecking ball to the entire concept, the idea, and the reasoning behind Title IX.
All right. Sports is a metaphor for life, as I told my kids, where you learn good sportsmanship, discipline,
Yes.
teamwork. It's great. John McCuskey, great to have you with us on the show. Really appreciate it. Thank you.